April. It's just magic. Everything is waking up so much and it's so fast. It's almost like an explosion. And if you miss a few key things at this point, you're really going to feel it later on in the season. Today, my goal is to walk you through what I'm doing in the garden right now after 8+ years of experience in this garden alone, and what I'm not going to do that could also help you, hopefully. And honestly, this year I've done something that I've never done before, and it has made gardening so crazy easy that I'm kicking myself I didn't do it before. And I'm going to make sure that I tell you all about that. So stick around till the end. Okay, so the first thing I'm doing is I'm setting the stage for soil, right? I'm getting the beds kind of cleaned up, but not too much. I've waited until I am seeing life abounding in the garden, not just the plants, but the insects as well. If I cleaned out these beds too early, all these standing hollow stems and the leaves that are in the garden below that have been sitting all winter, I would get rid of so many beneficial insects, so many pollinators, so many things that are going to help my garden thrive during the summer, including parasitical wasps and things that will go after the bad things that come in my garden later on, my pests. So I need to make sure that in order to keep my guardians strong and thriving in my garden and my pollinators, I need to let these stand until I see the garden coming alive with them. So we're looking for bees, and we're looking for honeybees and mason bees and parasitical wasps. We're looking for butterflies. We're looking for ladybugs. We're looking for just life. When you come out here, if it feels buzzing and alive, now is probably a good time to start clearing out your beds. But if it's not like that yet, if you're seeing a couple of things here and there, don't do anything. Just wait. It'll happen this month where there'll be a time where you come out and you go, okay, now's the time. You'll know. It'll feel alive. It'll sound alive, and you'll see it. So wait until you see it. And that's usually around the time when you're not afraid to plant your tomatoes, because the nights are warmer and the days are warmer, and the bugs are going to be coming out at that time, and they're going to be thriving. So that's one of the great indicators. Okay, now this is the time that you're really going to want to get those fruit trees in. Get the fruit trees, your berry bushes, your blueberries, your gooseberries, your currants, your hydrangeas, all the hardy perennial shrubs and trees and plants, honestly. I mean, at this point, I'm even planting some bulbs and some bare roots of things like asters, but get those in the ground now so that they are ready to go when it gets really warm out. So early April is the perfect time to get those things in. Don't plant out your tender stuff yet, like the tomatoes and the peppers. In fact, I wait until the middle of May, and I'm in zone 6B. Okay, so my last frost date is around May 1st, May 5th, and I just wait until I am sure that things are warm. So I'm not going to be planting that stuff out in April, but I will plant the hardy stuff, the perennial stuff, the stuff that's kind of dormant right now and is only just starting to come alive. The reason why it's so good to plant those right now is because we haven't hit the heavy heat yet. And so this is a gentler way for them to start off their lives in your garden. I'm also going through, and if I'm seeing things in my garden pathways, like I've got a bunch of Rudbeckia or brown and black-eyed Susan that I have growing in my pathways that I love. I want them. I just don't want them growing in my pathway. I have pretty skinny paths in my garden because I wanted to maximize as much gardening space as I could. And so I skimped on the pathways. I don't need things growing there too. So I'm digging those up. They're doing well right now. And I'm transplanting them to the places that I want them. If it's growing now, it's a good time to transplant it because this is the time when its major growth is happening and those roots will get down in there and really take hold as well. And spring is so good because there's lots of rain normally, and so you're not going to have to worry about watering as much. And so the cooler temperatures, rain, the moisture, it's all working perfectly for your perennials or your biennials to be transplanted or planted in your garden. Another thing to do is, now that things are starting to wake up and you are getting all the bugs and everything, make sure that there's water available for the birds so that they can come in and they can eat those nasty caterpillars that we don't want on our plants. And then also When you have bird waterers like this or bird baths, put some rocks in the bottom of it so that butterflies and bees can perch on the rocks and have a drink as well, because we want those pollinators happy and healthy in our garden. Now is the time that you're going to want to fertilize as well. So if you've got some fertilizer that you want to get in the ground, I highly recommend fish emulsion. All that is good. Don't put Miracle Grow. Don't do it. Whatever you do, don't use Miracle Grow, please. I could do a whole video on why not to do that, but I'm sure there's a million more out there like that. So if you're going to put any kind of good stuff into your soil, this is the time that you're going to want to do that. And you're going to want to probably do that like monthly, but I usually just do it in the spring. This is a bed that I'm making still. I'm going to put some soil down, and well, I'll go over that in a second. But there are plants that we're going to be wanting to plant in the garden right now that are cool weather crops. So if you've got seedlings of brassicas, like your cabbages or your broccolis or your Brussels sprouts, kale, things like that, when you put them out, this is the time that we want to plant them in our garden, right? Put them in those beds, but immediately put the row cover over them. I had a friend who never put row covers over because they thought that they needed pollinators in order to get broccoli. And oh, bless her heart, she's so sweet. But if your broccoli is flowering, it's too late. You can't really harvest it anymore. It's gone past its time. So put the row covers immediately over your brassicas, and it may seem early, but before you know it, those cabbage moths and those pests are going to be out, and the moment that you see them in your garden, it's already too late. So get them out now, cover up that stuff, and make sure that your plants are protected right away. Water systems. We have time right now to be able to make sure that our water system is in place. So if you want to lay out those soaker hoses, now is a great time to do it. If you want to get those hoses out from wherever you were storing them, get them all connected, get them put in a place where it's going to make it easy for you when it's time and you're in that mad rush of getting all your seeds in and all your seedlings in the garden, that you don't have to worry about finding the hose and hooking up the hose and getting everything ready with that. Get it ready now so that as soon as you put those plants in, you're ready to just hose them down and give them that drink that they really need. Now, as you're putting in your stuff this year in your garden, I'd like you to consider planting densely, because I know that this has been an idea for a long time, you know, the square root or the square foot gardening and everything, but I think I'd like for you to consider planting even closer together, because, well, if you look at my garden where all the weeds are, right, they are dense. My plants, the weeds are dense, and so plants actually like being close together. And if you plant them closer together, you're going to prevent weeds from sprouting up a lot more, and you'll be able to take advantage of more space and more harvest. And also, when you're planting your plants, I'd like for you to think vertically as well. So get those trellises in. Now is a great time to do that. And also, like right here in my garden bed right here, I'm going to be having peppers grow, and then underneath the peppers I'm going to put some lettuce heads or some spinach, some lower to the ground things. So I've got a vertical thing growing and a lower thing growing, and it's the same amount of soil, right? You can also think about things that berry. So if you've got carrots, you can put the carrots in between your lettuce or cabbages or whatever it is that you're growing. Think about in layers. So you don't want to just grow in that flat plane. You want to grow in the height and the depth as well. So you're going to be able to get more bang for your buck in those garden beds and have a greater harvest. If you'll see, I did something very similar with that right here. I've been digging up my Rudbeckias in the pathway, and I planted them so densely together that I didn't even dig them into the ground. I just shoved them up against each other, and so it is a very densely planted patch right there. And I'm going to fill in some more stuff. I've got so much Rudbeckia, and I did the same thing with catnip as well, but these are going to do really, really well densely planted, and it's going to look extravagant and beautiful, and I just love that. Anyway, so densely planted is the key to a less high maintenance garden as well. You wouldn't think it, but it's true. Okay, now also make sure that you've got your seedlings started. So get those tomatoes started and then peppers started. If you get them in now, the beginning of April, you're not too late. Don't worry. And even if you get them in May, you're fine. But you will get like a little bit of a head start if you get them in now. So the things that I'm really concerned about getting in early are the really long season things like the red roselle hibiscus. It takes a long time to plant that seed and get it to the point of the seed to the plant with that calyx on the end that I want for my teas and my herbal preparations. And so I need a long time for that. Another thing would be like ashwagandha, which is a hardy annual, but it doesn't ever overwinter here. And so I need to start that from seed, but in order to get the greatest amount of roots available to me by the end of the season, I need to start those seeds now. Tomatoes and peppers, honestly, I've seen a lot of people do this as well, so don't just take my word for it, but look this up. It's incredible. But I have seen, and I have done myself, where I've planted a seedling from a nursery, local nursery, next to a little hole that I put some seeds in. So a full-grown seedling, not full-grown, but a hardy seedling next to some seeds in my garden, and I ended up harvesting them at the same time, the same variety, everything. So the seeds will catch up. If you plant them in the garden, they will catch up. There's always this mad rush to, I'll get your tomatoes in 2 weeks early if you can, and cover them and protect them and do whatever you can to get as big as... I really don't think it's necessary. I really don't think it's necessary. If you have alternate experience, let me know, but I have experienced this where it doesn't make a difference. And so don't stress about the seedlings, but if you want to get them started now is great. I like being able to put seedlings in my garden instead of planting seeds because of this next thing that I'm going to show you, which is the thing that, oh my goodness, I wish I had done. Oh my goodness, I wish I had done this so much. But first, before I tell you that, now is also the time to get your mulch, to get your compost. I'm telling you right now at Lowe's, you can get 2 square cubic whatevers of mulch for your pathways, for your garden beds if you want, for $2, which is like half price. And you can get a lot of mulch that way. So I got 20 bags for $40, guys, and that's gonna fill all the pathways in my annual bed area. Do you see my lovely husband brought all the bags and lined them up at the end of the pathways for me. And I'm not going to lay them down yet because I want to wait until I get all these plants that are up that I want to lay down. And here's what I'm telling you. This is the key, guys. Oh, and sorry. And Walmart also has a deal on compost. So you can get a bag of compost, 2 cubic foot, whatever, bag of compost for $5, which is just a really good deal. That is a really good deal. And I wouldn't recommend filling your bed with that. I mean, have some better quality stuff in there, build your own soil and everything. But if you need a boost, that's a great thing. Get that now. I have a pile of mulch that I got delivered over here. It's ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. They're waiting. When it's time for it, they're here and they're ready to go. Get it while it's on sale. And before everybody else gets it and it's sold out. Okay, so anyway, so let me tell you the thing that I've learned that is like, gosh, I wish I had done this years and years ago, and I don't know why I haven't. And I feel kind of like a doofus because I haven't. And I know about this. I know about this method, but I never connected the dots that you can do this in your raised beds. Guys, cardboard, then compost, and then mulch. Okay, so this is my garden bed before. This is my garden bed like 5 minutes after. Okay, maybe not 5 minutes, like a half an hour. Okay, also this garden bed was worse. This was my worst one. I hadn't weeded this baby since maybe 4 years ago. Okay, like this was bad. This was like grass and like gross. These were a little bit better. You lay down the cardboard, it smothers the weeds. you put the compost down, add some nice, good nitrogen, good soil, good composition going on right here, right? And then you put this mulch on top, and it, oh my goodness, guys, it's like magic. I mean, it's really, it's the back to Eden method, right? In a raised bed. How is this, I don't know why. I mean, I lamented for years that my pathways were better soil than my garden beds, and it's because every year I lay down cardboard and then I put on another layer of mulch and then another cardboard and then a layer of mulch every single year, and the soil in my pathways is beautiful, beautiful. But this stuff was always just full of weeds and gross, right? So you put the cardboard down, it smothers the weeds, it composts all of it. The soil on top adds like another layer, which is really good, and it's going to help break down the cardboard and make this cardboard and the soil feed into the soil below. All those weeds that you had in there from last year, they're composting back into the soil. So all the nitrogen, all the minerals, all the good essential nutrients that those weeds sucked up from your dirt, soil, we should say soil, right? Anyway, but dirt, right, is in those weeds, and when you compost them back into your soil, then you end up not losing any of that stuff. So it's like returning the gold back to the land. Anyway, it's so easy. Lay down the cardboard on top of the weeds, just smash them down, put the compost down, and then put a thick layer of mulch. Now the key for this is using this kind of mulch, right? This kind of rough mulch. I got this from a landscaping company where they cut down trees. They were dying to get rid of it. They have so much of it because they got to get rid of a lot of their trees just by mulching it down, right? And so I got a whole dump truck load for like $140, which is incredible, right? And it's not this stuff. It's not dyed. You don't have to worry about all those chemicals going into your garden beds. And these days you got to worry about chemicals with everything. Even organic compost, you worry about, the herbicides that could be in them. So nothing's like always going to be guaranteed. Nothing is ever going to be guaranteed, but this is your best shot, okay, at having like really good, healthy soil. So the compost on top of the cardboard with like 2 inches of the mulch on top. And then, guys, oh my goodness, guys, this is it. This is the key to everything. Your garden beds are mulched, which means how is your weeding going to go this summer? How much time are you going to spend in the garden weeding? Really? Not a lot, because everything's been mulched. So this is why I prefer seedlings, because I don't like to plant seeds into mulch, moving the mulch away and then making a little furrow in the compost and then putting those in and then worrying about the mulch falling back on the little baby tiny seeds that are coming up. No, I like to have the seedlings, and I understand carrots are different and I'm gonna have to do that, whatever. Okay, well, you know what, suck it up, Ruth, it's fine. But if I can do a seedling, I will do it, because I can kind of push away the compost, push away the mulch, dig through the cardboard, that's key, plant the seedling, and then kind of fill everything back in again. And then I can spend time with my kids this summer instead of weeding my garden. And I can spend time with my kids this summer instead of watering all the time, because mulch. I feel like a doofus. I didn't do this before. Why didn't I do this before? Anyway, okay. I hope this helps, guys. This is my list of things to do. Don't clean it out too early. Make sure you build up that soil. And it's so easy. I mean, I did this with a baby on my hip. It took me like 15 minutes. So easy. So easy. Instead of sitting there digging my hands in and raking out the really strong, stubborn weeds and like getting everything. It's sweaty and it's long and it's tiring and it's hot and it takes forever, and you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Anyway, okay. That's my epiphany. I hope it helps you. If you guys have any tips about April, let me know. Put them in the comments below, because I want to hear them, because, oh my goodness, I'm still learning just like everybody else. And everybody else who reads this, they're still learning too, and they want to know your hot tips. So let us know. Have a wonderful day. Click the like button and subscribe and do all that sort of wonderful stuff, and I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day and stay blessed.